Hello fellow YouTubers, Extreme Woodworker here. Today I'd like to talk about a new method that I'm exploring for making templates. Templates that I use for pattern shaping and or routing. In some earlier videos you may have seen me use this jig for a rail for a Queen Anne bed, or not a queen size green and green bed. And the jig that I used, which I think you may have seen portions of it in an earlier video, was it was a trammel used for a router, and it was over 19 feet long. I'm working on a dresser now. I ran across these the CMT flexible pattern template, and I'm going to try that. I've taken some CAD printouts from my design, and these particular ones, I've got some side rails for a dresser. That this particular one would be manageable, reasonably manageable with a normal trammel jig on a router, because this is about 900 millimeters or 36 inches radius. But this top one is over 5 meters, which is roughly 16 feet, and that's just, it gets difficult. It's a difficult, time-consuming setup to set up a jig that long and a trammel that long, and provide. I mean, it's 2/3 of the way across my shop. So I'm going to try this, and I'm going to show you how I did it. And this is the first time with the use of this CMT flexible template. This is a model TMP-1000. So it's 1 meter long, and I'm going to try it to make a template for these. So stay tuned. Next step I've got, and I'm actually recycling the material from my original trammel jig, so this is going to get double use. I've trimmed my patterns that I could only print this out on a D-size sheet, so I ended up putting two together. I left my center construction line so that I can line them up properly. But I'm going to use this Sprayway 66 spray adhesive. I like this for adhering patterns because it's a contact adhesive, but if you apply it to one side, it goes on very thin, it doesn't wrinkle, and you can pull it off. If you apply this contact adhesive to both surfaces, you can make a permanent bond. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these patterns. You've got to let them dry for 5 minutes. One thing, if you cannot find this Sprayway 66 adhesive, another thing that works, if you raid your spouse's sewing room, you can get this sulky KK 2000 temporary spray adhesive. That would work as well. So I'm going to trim these things and then come back and show you how I attach the template. Well guys, just a few closing comments. This review of the CMT 1000 flexible template, this really worked great. I was extremely pleased, a bit unsure at first. This is the only thing that I'm aware of on the market like this. It is, I guess, on a price per foot or millimeter, whatever you use. This is fairly expensive. I think this cost me somewhere around $60. But it worked extremely well. It saved me a lot of time in setup. I don't regret sacrificing my 20-foot long trammel because it was a chore to set up. It worked well, but I think this was a good sacrifice for that. The clamps, these are the Bessie self-adjusting clamps. I'm really liking this. One of these I think is going to have to go back to Bessie. It just doesn't seem to have the hold down force of some of the others. So if you're into repetitive profile shaping, making a template is a great choice. I think that if you've got a piece of curve that where one side won't be visible, I think it would be fine just to attach this to the back of the pattern for back of your workpiece for a one-off piece and just directly route your shape onto the workpiece. That didn't really work too well for me because when I use a shaper, I like a little more beef behind my jigs. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this and hope it was helpful to you. And again, I highly recommend the CMT flexible templates.